Hi, everyone, and thank you for joining us on day two of the Skills for CA Summit. We hope that you enjoyed today's breakout sessions. We are excited to have you back with us. I have the pleasure of introducing Assemblymember Kalra. Assemblymember Kalra was first elected to the California legislature in 2016, representing the 27th district, which encompasses approximately half of San Jose and includes all of downtown. In 2020, he was reelected to his third term. He is the chair of the Assembly Committee on Labor and Employment and also currently serves as a member on the committees on Housing, Community Development, Judiciary, Transportation, and Water, Parks, and Wildlife. He has established himself as a leader on issues ranging from criminal justice reform to the environment, as well as healthcare sustainability, housing affordability, growing our transportation infrastructure, and expanding economic opportunity to all Californians. He previously served as a San Jose City Council member for 8 years and was a deputy public defender in Santa Clara County for 11 years prior to the City Council. He is the first Indian American to serve in the California legislature in state history. Please join me in welcoming Assemblymember Kalra.
Thank you so much. It's great to be here. I really appreciate California Edge Coalition for inviting me to the Skills for California Summit, and especially now in June 2021. What a year it's been, and I think this is the opportunity for us to talk about the future for California and how we come out of this pandemic better than ever. We know that the COVID pandemic, as I oftentimes say, didn't create inequities that we see so often in our state, in our economy, but it has exposed them and in many ways exacerbated them. The pandemic has had an unprecedented emotional and economic imprint on California's communities and economy. Employers and workers in almost every industry have been hit hard, and countless jobs have been lost. Unfortunately, many businesses have been forced to permanently close, and many workers have been left for months without work or a safety net. Throughout this crisis, one thing has been very clear. California depends on its working people. Workers across the state that are stocking grocery shelves, keeping the internet up and running, driving trucks, sanitizing hospital rooms, caring for patients and children. They're the very backbone of our state, and they always have been. But I think now we're seeing it so viscerally, so apparently, that it's the workers that have always been there around us every day that we're all paying more attention to, as we should. The pandemic is also, as we know and as we've come to see, disproportionately impacted workers of color, in particular Black and Latino workers, as well as immigrants who are overrepresented in both frontline jobs that cannot be done remotely and industries highly affected by the economic shutdown. It is important that as we build back our workforce and chart our state's roadmap to economic recovery, that we focus on legislation to protect and support our most vulnerable workers, our most vulnerable communities, and of course, small businesses who have also just been so tragically hit during this past year plus. Workforce solutions should certainly prioritize the economic needs and career aspirations of California's most vulnerable workers and historically marginalized residents. It's skilled and diverse. And we talk about California and its diversity, and the reality is that we have a wide range of diversity. That includes a diversity in our workforce, the kinds of talents that folks bring from around the country, around the world, the kind of talent that we nurture here organically as well. And we know that a skilled and diverse workforce will be critical to helping businesses recover from the recession. Workforce development strategies should create equitable pathways, and that's the key, equitable, right? Making sure everyone has those opportunities towards those pathways to good jobs that are safe and free from discrimination and harassment, that pay families supporting livable wages, that welcome workers' concerns and ideas, provide for worker advancement. I mean, when people think about a job versus a career, we think about what is the opportunity for advancement in a job that I enjoy. Give workers some stability, predictability, and let's make sure that we support the necessities to take care of family needs that arise outside of the workplace. We want to make sure that our workplaces have that kind of flexibility. We oftentimes say that our workplaces are like our family, kind of away from home. But the reality is that if it's truly a family that away from home, that the workplace should also recognize your family at home. As chairman of the Assembly Labor and Employment Committee, I will certainly support legislation that focuses on retraining and reemploying workers to address new industry needs during and after the recovery by expanding California's high road training partnerships and supporting industry partnerships between business, labor, workforce, and community partners. Preserving and expanding pre-apprenticeship, apprenticeship, and paid work-based learning, particularly for workers of color, immigrants, women, and other marginalized Californians. And that also includes those that are coming out of incarceration, veterans that may be leaving military service, and on and on. We have such a wealth of potential talent, but potential doesn't help us if we don't nurture that potential. And that's why apprenticeship programs, job training programs are so critically important. I also would add the opportunities for worker cooperatives that truly empower workers as well. I think that we've seen it in one of the ways that I look at it. And I know that some of our friends, SEIU, for example, looks at the model for worker cooperatives for those doing in-home care and what have you, right? To the opportunity to actually empower the workers in that environment. In Silicon Valley, and we see this around the state, but certainly in Silicon Valley, we see a lot of our immigrant-owned restaurants that may be either going out of business or the parents, have the next generation, their children don't want to take the business over. Well, guess who could take that business over? The managers, the workers, the dishwashers, the cooks, everyone that has been helping, keep that business going and afloat. They know that business inside and out. Let's look at opportunities to upskill and train them, but also opportunity for worker cooperatives and worker ownership as well. Must ensure the health, safety, and wage protections for frontline workers. During this pandemic, we've talked a lot about essential workers and there are heroes, what have you, but all too often our essential workers have been treated as sacrificial. And we cannot do that. It's not only the immoral to do that, but it's not a sustainable way to maintain our economy and to uplift our workers. Let's recognize our workers that we've seen as essential for this last year plus going forward. As we come out of the pandemic, let's not forget their sacrifices, and we honor the sacrifices by ensuring we protect them, that we offer quality work environments in terms of health and safety, livable wages, training opportunities, advancement opportunities. And I know that together, we're all on the same we're all of the same mind when it comes to that, but it's much easier said than done, right? In terms of policies, in terms of budgeting, in terms of giving the tools to those that actually work in job training to have the tools they need to access the workers and make sure that they're giving them that 21st century job training opportunities that they deserve. I just want to thank the California Edge Coalition. I want to thank everyone that's here for the Skills for California Summit because I think this is the right time to be talking about this. As we're not out of the woods yet when it comes to the pandemic. We're seeing some great numbers. California has the best numbers in terms of infection rates, in terms of vaccination rates. We're over 70%. We're doing a great job because of all of you, because of our governor and legislative leaders that have made it a priority. But as we move forward, let's learn our lessons from this past year and not forget them. As we continue to chart our state's economic recovery, it's important that we continue to secure basic needs and protections for California's most vulnerable workers, further modernize access to skills training and create good jobs in high demand industries, and build equitable pathways to good jobs for all workers. This is really a lot of what I learned and what came out of my role on the governor's Future of Work Commission. And what was made very clear is that for us to have a future as a sustainable economy, it starts with our workers. So let's not forget that. And again, thank you all so much for inviting me to speak to you all, to share some of my thoughts, and just want to let you know how much I appreciate each and every one of you. Let's move California forward together. Thank you.
Wow, that was amazing and so powerful. Thank you, Assemblymember, for sharing your experience with us and for your strong leadership on these issues. Very grateful to have leaders like you in this space fighting the good fight. And thank you to everyone for taking part in our virtual summit. After getting to participate in so many policy discussions this week, many of you are probably wondering what is next and how you can help impact the policies our communities need. During the event registration process, you were asked if you would like to participate in legislative office visits. And for those of you that signed up, we will be meeting today at 1:30 for a briefing to prepare for those meetings. You should have already received an email for today's briefing that contains all the advocacy materials. But if you did not get that email, please email Zima Creason, which you can find her email in the chat box. All of us here on the Skills for California team are so thankful that many of you will be joining us to share your expertise and on-the-ground experience as we work to advance the Skills for California action agenda. This year, we are asking for critical investments in the budget, ranging from apprenticeship programs, supporting a social safety net for adult learners and workers, to broadband access for all. With such a big state surplus this year and significant aid from the federal government, now is the time to urge our state leaders to invest in California's working families and ensure equitable policies are implemented. Once again, thank you so much to our guest speakers, panelists, and to all the participants. We look forward to staying connected with you all and to chart a path towards economic equity in California. Thank you and have a great day.